because Doom players don't have hearts or brains. I don't remember which one, or soul. It's one of those three. Maybe it's all three. I always get it confused. So
I've accepted that, I've accepted that he's not incredibly fun to play against. I've played a couple games recently on like DPS and support where it's been tragic.
yeah,
So
no,
I understand the hatred of him. I get
it's
it.
fine. It's fine. I tease, but I think Doom is way overhated. Mostly a skill issue, and he's legitimately incredibly difficult to get value out of. So most people who I've seen complain about Doomfist are people that have never put in the like half the amount of effort into the character that they're playing as Doomfist players do. In fact, Doomfist haters are the reason why I had an entire content piece. I don't know if you there was that video a while back where I was like, who's the fraud, and basically I would have people say who they think is the character that is way overrated in terms of difficulty, and then I threw them into the game playing that character secretly, and people had to guess who they were.
That's
Yeah,
such a fun idea.
that started with Doomfist. People complaining about Doomfist. That entire idea. So
I
yeah,
get that because I feel like, yeah, the person that I do that to, I feel like is Genji because
yeah,
I don't play any Genji, and so I'm
yeah,
constantly like, this is unbelievable, like this
yeah,
character is terrible, but I know that probably people dump like thousands of hours into him, and
yep,
so
yep.
it's
Doom,
just,
Genji, Tracer, Lucio, Ball. The same old crap. You could pretty much predict what it is, but
yeah. I
I think
wonder if Blizzard has I wonder if they have stats on like, I'm sure they do, but I wonder if they look at and consider like how strong a character is in terms of hours. Because I always thought that when I started playing, because people said like, "Oh, Anna's win rate is the same as, this new character that had just come out," and I was thinking, okay, well, doesn't that mean that this new character's way stronger? And so if you're picking
yeah.
up the game, it might not be really fair. The old characters may actually be like, pretty crappy comparatively because they just people have so many hours on them. It's not fair to compare it.
Yeah, I mean it's tricky because the other thing as well is like when a new character comes out is I like to call it the secondary character benefits, where whatever character you learn first is by far the hardest character to learn, and then the second one is second, and the third one is third, and then every character that you learn afterwards becomes inherently easier just because your understanding of the game and mechanical comfort just becomes easier, if that makes sense. So like
Right.
it's hard to judge that metric. I think that the trickiest metric would be like what is the hardest character to pick up from scratch. Like for example, I picked up Genji, like he was my first character, and I put in several hundred hours into the game before I even like hit consistently like plat. Um, and like I think that if I put that time into another character, like even like Soldier, I probably would have hit plat or whatever sooner. So like what's the
Sure.
parameter there? But then also like how that's just plat. What about like Diamond or Masters? I one of my good buddies, he's a coach, Dana Doomfist main, and he's always saying that getting Doom to Masters or Diamond is pretty okay, like challenging but not impossible. But he says it gets like progressively harder, even compared to other characters, just because everybody's CC and damage. Everyone's good at controlling off angles, and Doomfist just has a much harder time compared to other tanks, which is a pretty good thought, to be honest with you. So I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I am starting to I'm starting to struggle a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I just have not been able to move at all. I've been basically like Masters 5 for about a month and just like, falling in and out, getting close to Masters 4 and just, yeah, not a lot of movement.
yeah.
It
I mean
is
that's how
getting
it goes.
tricky.
That's how it goes. Okay. Questions since last time. I mean, it's not been too long, but I guess a few months. You've been busy off and on. We're back. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I guess I don't have too many questions. I want to hope that I can still, you know, move the needle on Doom. I'm not like
Yeah.
opposed to playing other things, but I really do enjoy it, and so it's probably like when I enjoy the game most, and so I feel like, if I force myself to play something I don't like, I don't
Yeah.
know if I will be able to climb as high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's just a concern for me, but
Yeah.
I I want to hope. I want to hope that I can.
Yeah.
I would love to
Yeah.
be solidly in Master. I want to feel like I belong there.
Well, I mean,
Does
you
that make
do.
sense?
If
Like,
you're Masters 5, Masters 4, and have been for a little bit, then yeah, you do. I mean, you might slip right out of it if you take a long break again. That's just how skills never static. But no, you're fine. You did it.
Yep, I went on I was gonna say I did that exact thing this week. I went on vacation for like a couple weeks, came back and played some games to get my to get content for today because I was like, oh, I don't have anything. I
Yeah,
didn't know if codes were gonna reset. And so, yep, I slipped out again, and so
yeah,
I'm like, now I gotta go do it again, and
yeah. That's
so,
how it
so
happens. But
I
I
know I
guess
can, but it's just,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I guess I would say is like do it because you want to play Doomfist. Don't do it because of the rank. Your masters, I know, but like you're just every time you take a break, like you're gonna slip back out of it. Like at some point, Overwatch is gonna die, right? Or maybe Overwatch doesn't die, but like at some point you're gonna get busy with other things. Like even if it's
yep,
50 years from now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like skill is never static. So I will
sure,
say this. I might be putting my foot in my mouth here, but I think Doomfist with the mechanical and cooldown and like general strategy awareness requirements. If you ever were to want to add another tank to your pool, you probably wouldn't have any major problems unless it was something like Ball.
sure.
You have a lot of transferable skills. Doesn't mean the playstyle is the exact same, but you have a lot of tools in your toolkit. Let's put it that way.
Right. It doesn't go too terrible if I have to play other tanks. Like I thought it was gonna be horrible. Like if
Yeah.
if it got banned. But I don't find Doom gets banned too much. Because actually, I know it said the stats when Blizzard released the stats were pretty high. It was like, oh, Doom gets banned like 20% of the time, and I was like, damn, it doesn't feel like that. And then I kind of realized that it's like, well, it goes down a little bit as you go up ranks,
Yep, it
right?
does.
And
Yep.
also, I have found that if I ever play wide matches or I play, in kind of lower ranks, people will actually target ban the characters on their team way more than they do in higher ranks. Like
Interesting.
it happens all the time. And so like if you choose like Doom or like Mercy or something like that, in
Mm-hmm.
lower ranks they will just ban you for fun on your team,
Yeah.
right? But it
Well, there's
just
a
doesn't
reason they're the
happen as
rank that they're
much.
at.
Yeah, yeah, right. I was,
Yeah.
and actually, it's funny. For the first day, it happened constantly to me. Even like I would pick Doom, and people would be like, "We're not playing with Doom anymore. We're done with this." And then like after a couple days, it just like calmed down. I think maybe either people got it out of their system, or maybe they dropped ranks a little bit for just like target banning people constantly
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Well, maybe
I don't
that's
know
just
what
what
happened, but
happens. Yeah, that's what happens.
anyway, so I mean, really, that makes it so like, I mean, if it's even if it is 20% masters and up, which I don't think it's quite that high, if I choose Doom as my preferred hero, I would say like it almost never do people target, like ban me on purpose on my team. So really, that takes it and slices it in half, right? So that's now from 20 to 10. So that's like 1 out of every 10 games, which is whatever. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And I think as you get in higher rank, people also understand what Doomfist is as a tank. He's still a little feast or famine, which is why some people might not like
Yep.
him. But also at the same time, the lower rank mindset of we need a shield tank, you know what I'm saying, is going to go away. And so they're like, if you're good at the character, I don't care what you do, you know. So
Yep. It's a lot better.
yeah. Okay. I guess we can just take a look here.
Sure. Um. Okay. I'll just grab the most recent game I played.
Yeah, it's fine.
There we go.
Okay. So no real
Yeah, and I'm good to
parameters
do
outside
whatever
of
I
recent.
can. Sorry, what's that?
I said no real parameters here besides just recent game.
Nope, just recent game. I'm trying to
Okay.
keep the sample set as I think I think as I progress, there'll probably be some fights that I'm like I'm really confused about this fight. But unless I feel that way very specifically, I think it's okay to just get like whatever most recent or just a random loss because then it's like a sample set of what I'm actually doing. Like
Yeah,
what
yeah,
really happens and what I
yeah,
do wrong, I guess.
yeah, exactly. Okay, and you said you're flexible too?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm flexible, so like if you wanna go through codes, I got a bunch of codes. If we wanna do live coaching, I'm good to do whatever. I'm
Yeah,
down.
let's run this code here because it's a short one, and then we'll evaluate from there. But we'll probably end up doing some live coaching just for
Cool.
reps.
I'm good with
Um,
whatever.
Notes in the past. It's going to be more of the same, but basically, I remember we talked about target priority. Don't get pinched or poked out on setup. I think there was forcing through chokes, if I remember correctly. That was something that you're kind of
Yep.
instead of like kind of letting them come into you a lot. That was back, in the day, and that's been something that you've progressed. But you've progressed a solid rank since then, so obviously it's going to get harder and harder. But because it will be repetitive, we'll probably keep this relatively short and focus on any questions that you have if you do have them.
Yep. And one thing that's nice too is, you know, I know it may not be like a massive amount of improvement, but one thing that I was really happy about is I feel like my consistency has gotten a ton better. Like I feel like
Also,
I wasn't going these huge loss streaks and win
right.
streaks like I was.
Do you think that's more to do with your mental or how you're training, or is it more to do with just understanding the game a little bit better, and so there's fewer outliers, or maybe a little bit of both?
That's a really good question, and I don't know that I have an exact answer to that. So what I give you is probably just going to be my feeling,
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
I feel like a lot of it is mental.
Yeah, I mean, it usually is.
Like I
Yeah,
feel like I'm just more calm and comfortable with losing and being like, oh, well, it is what it is, you know. And not that I was ever like, you know, super upset before, but I think it affects you even if you think it
it
doesn't,
does.
you
Yeah,
know.
it does. It does. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, fair enough. This is okay. I think it could have posed a little bit more of a threat prior to charging. I mean, you're reaching the rank now where it's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. So just one thing that you can do pretty consistently is punching, even doing a short punch into a block. That's something that you see a lot from other Doomfist players. So you kind of hold this angle here, which is great, obviously. Hit a shot or two, tap punch right here, tap punch right here, shoot tap punch at the ram, and then so that way you don't go flying into them. You just stop yourself right here, and then charge your punch from here, and then just
Yep.
basically force it. Basically, the thing of it this way: if they're not going to punish you for using block because they don't want to shoot your block, okay? What you could do is you can use that block duration as a way of building back cooldown timers, right? So obviously you don't want to slam
Sure.
here. That's pointless. But what you can do is you can use your punch. I mean, not really get punished for it because either they're A, going to reset your punch cooldown, or B, they're going to just not shoot your punch and allow you to just kind of knock them back for free. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point. It's something I think I know, but I'm just not. Maybe I'm just not
Yeah,
practicing at the choke, or
it's one
I
of
just
those
didn't
micro
do it here.
things that
I don't know
makes
why.
sense, right? It makes sense. It's just that there's so many of those things that it can be very difficult. One of the other ones is just like chambering, buffering shots at the end of your abilities, right? So that you just kind of layer them instantly. There's a ton of them with Doomfist. I think you're at a point in time now where you can afford to do certain mechanical things as long as those mechanical things are easy to replicate. This one is easy to replicate. All it is when
Totally.
you're looking to farm punch, look to use punch to farm punch. If you can safely land it without leading the choke. Like you could do this almost every single fight, basically, without exception.
That's a great point.
Because now the problem is that you didn't really get that initial beef from that initial punch. And I mean, you got to think about it even from like a shield's perspective, right? Like you can get just 25, 50 extra HP from that initial punch, too. Good disengage,
Right.
though.
Yeah. I don't think about that a lot.
And this is kind of what I talked about. Okay, so this is another example where they're not really. Let me turn up the audio just a little bit. It's a little quiet on my end. Where they're not really respecting you, or they are respecting you a lot rather. But at least here, you're punching, you're dislodging. That actually sets up a really nice anti-nade here. Which, to be honest with you, in hindsight, maybe you could have followed up off of this instead of going to a block immediately. But whatever the case may be, you've used your punch here. You've used your block. They're not feeding you. They're not doing damage at all. And you see what they paid for, right? Look at your punch cooldown.
Right.
You see it? You have it right back
Yeah,
again.
absolutely.
So you've been able to do it again. You actually have your full cycle here, so you could have gone for a tap punch there and slammed out, no problem. This is just a really bad initial cooldown trade for me. Just lost too much space, but yeah, okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
Same kind of thing here too. You can even use it really, really to min-max here. So like right here, shoot, punch, block, duck. Pose a threat into the block, you'll guarantee that the block charge much more consistently. And it's funny, this is one of those moments where you could have farmed punch quite easily. What would you have done from this? It's the same technique here.
Yeah, I think I should have blocked around the corner. Just
Right
blocked
here.
there and then
Right,
tucked
just
the corner.
Yeah, shoot here, like once, just even empty your clip, right? And block right here. You will get it, almost certainly. And if nothing else, you'll shove these guys into the locker for a longer period of time and isolate the ram more than you turning back and dealing with the Ramatra.
Definitely.
You see it? So it's just about opening with that punch to set up your block for either more space or a charge punch, one or the other. Like, I like the way that you're patiently taking space here. There just isn't enough lethality of it because you just aren't building punch.
Yep.
And even here, it's like probably could have tap punched that, probably could have blocked sooner, etc., etc. This is more of just like kind of a messy game for me mechanically, but I'm trying to focus on, it's good to focus on things that are like good strategies that you can replicate even when things are kind of rough.
Yep.
Yep, it's good space. And this is kind of what I talked about, right? You posed a threat, you're in their face, and now this block, even if they don't shoot it, is going to buy time for those cooldowns, right? So this is just much better layering from you. And so that allows you to make a decision, right? If you die for this, they're going to die for it too. Case in point, you see it. So
right.
this is better, right? It was definitely a high risk, high reward play, but it makes sense. Sim wall plus ram, love that. And here we go again. Here we go again, right? It's gonna happen. You're going to get punched here. You could just smell it. you know.
Yep,
You know. You're posing a threat. You've layered your cooldowns well, and there's the punch. You know. Now it's a little bit unfortunate because you didn't have the HP to layer it further. But again, you have to think about it not just from that perspective as well. You've caused threat. You've bought more time for your team. 1, 2, 3. That allows your team to kind of walk forward. And so now, like, they're connecting with this backline while you're connecting with theirs. So this is okay. I like this. Good. Yep, good stuff. Good job. It's another one of those moments, right? Another one of those moments. You see it again, right? Where you know that you have your get out of jail free card. So you're allowed to pose threat into the block, which significantly increases your chance of getting value out of the block. You see it? Beautiful work.
Definitely.
Every time.
I think I struggle with it in the early game. Like, I think it's something about early game. I feel like my blocks are terrible. I don't know why.
It's not an accident. There's actually a very, very specific reason why that's the case. It actually has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. Think about it from the enemy team's perspective. First few fights, what's their focus? What's their attention level? You see what I'm saying?
Probably lower.
It's actually the opposite. It's actually the opposite. They're more focused. They're a little bit more attentive to detail early on in a fight. You understand what I'm saying? As games devolve, things get sloppier across the board, usually. So they go Doomfist. Oh no, don't feed us punch, right? I've seen this in this is a funny thing. This actually is replicated in professional Overwatch. You'll actually notice this if you ever watch. It's been a long time since we've seen a Doomfist meta, but I mean, we're back in scrims. We were always worse at feeding Doomfist punch in the back half of the game, back half of the map.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of like the overtime thing. You know what I mean?
People just kind of panic. They just want to shoot.
Or overtime happens and everybody's just throwing cooldowns.
yeah. It's unintuitive to not shoot Doomfist block, right? So the instinct will kick in the later. You'll have less intellect and more instinct later in the match, which means more successful blocks. Now that has nothing to do with you. So all you can do is basically create the setting to where they're more likely to shoot it earlier on, if that makes sense. And that's kind of what we talked about, like posing an actual threat into the block. Now, the key thing and why this is so important is it requires you to pose a threat without dying, right? Like, example here, I trust you to punch this block and then be able to slam out safely. But if I'm a gold Doomfist, you got to know how to get out first. You got to know your cycle first. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're at a point in time where you understand, kind of like know your limits here. But like you could see, okay, so like for example there, frankly, not a great block. It wasn't a bad block because you obviously charged punch, so like hindsight's 20/20 here, right? But if you look at this here, the time to farm punch is kind of already gone because you've knocked her far away and there's nothing really peeking you, nor are you really posing a threat right now. So in theory right now, I'd honestly just prefer you to slam out right now and just reset up on the choke objectively. I think that's just the right play here.
No, I agree. Even though I got the block, like
Yeah,
looking
it
at
just
it now,
doesn't
it's
feel
like,
earned.
yeah.
It just doesn't feel earned, right? Because you're not posing a threat, and because you don't have cooldowns and you're extending beyond your team, I don't think you can safely pose a threat here. So I think like that's like the metric here. A good cooldown cycle leads to more punches because you're more likely to pose a threat safely. Right now, you're not earning it. So like I look at this and I'm like, oh, you farm punch, but I'm like, man, I don't know if I want you using that cooldown right now. In addition to that, you can also think of it this way: do I want to use my empowered punch right now? The answer is no. The answer is no. If you do go in now, it is very likely going to result in your death. I don't even know if I do it with ult, just given where my team is setting up. Now, if you had ult,
Also,
it
like,
would be
even
the
if
end of the world. Go ahead.
Even I feel like that would be bad. Even if you do it with all, that's I mean, the chance that you kill something are possible, but you just like
blew an ult
chaotic.
for it.
It could be used in so much better of a way. You can wait till they walk and use it, and your team can follow up.
Exactly. So everything in Overwatch is tied together, right? The first thing is like where are we taking the fights, and then taking the fight at the choke and laying your cooldowns, and then now we're getting to the weeds of how do you actually effectively, consistently charge punch. And we're kind of reaching that point now because now it's like you can kind of see it. You wanted to use charge punch because you used it at a bad time, but because you used it at a bad time, it encouraged you to use it at a bad time, the punch that is, and now you're screwed. Right? It's like, oh, I missed the punch. Yeah, but you were very likely to miss that punch based off of where you were trying to use it, which is through the choke. And so you're kind of pushing yourself into bad habits. Now, I don't hate this punch necessarily. It's just not likely that it's going to land because she could just always do this, right? There needs to be a commitment from them first. So I guess it all kind of snowballs from there. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Now this, I'm predicting a charge punch. And I'm also predicting an effectively charged punch. Now, you guys don't have a lot of ults, but they have support ults and stuff that may prevent this from working. But you're going to 180, and you should charge punch. Why? Simple. You're a threat. You're annoying. You're in the middle of this. This should work. And do you see why you don't charge punch? Why don't you charge punch?
I feel like I didn't. Well, one, I didn't do it fast enough, and two, I think they were
They
scared,
just ran.
disengaged.
They just ran, right?
Which is fine with me. I'll
Which
take
is fine
that.
with you, exactly, right? So if they don't charge your punch, they just lose the fight. I mean, look at the freaking Torb. He's completely cooked. This guy's
He's cooked.
right?
Yep.
So it's like, well, I guess that was worth it because they didn't even bother to use Street. They didn't bother to push with the Torbjorn ultimate, right? So it comes at an expense. It's kind of like what we said earlier where, like, if they don't charge your punch but you're posing a threat, you're buying time for your next punch cooldown. And that's kind of exactly what you did there. It's like, okay, fine, just walk away. It's going to hurt you, though. If you don't break my bubble, if you don't shoot my block, you're going to hurt.
I will tell you something here. I remember being very scared to go for this tour because I felt like I was going to lose the whole map. But my whole team backed off too, and so I was scared to not. I was scared to do it. I was damned if I did, damned if I don't.
Yeah, it's fine. You made the right decision. It was to quickly kill him when you had the opportunity. And yes, you lost some space, but you didn't lose everything. And a 5v4 is generally going to be more favorable if you're not losing all of the space. And you didn't. And you killed him quickly, and you even saved your empowered punch. This should be fine. Now, this is a rollout moment right here for you. You can smell it. You're coming in from an angle. You've got your ultimate. You've got your block. You've got empowered punch. I want to see it. I want to see a charge slam into a punch right here. I want to see you approach from an angle, and I want to see it get quaked on highlight right here. You feel me?
All right. I don't remember at all, so we're about to find out together.
This is bad. This is direct frontline focus, which means that you're significantly less likely to secure a kill here. What I want from you, well, you tell me what you should do. Given the resources that you have, where should you come from?
I mean, probably because there's a couple things I could do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that either I think probably I could let the slam propagate on the left column, right? Or I could just jump in the air and fully charge it while I'm falling.
Yep,
and
sure
just
could.
Slam
You got
into
it.
him either way. I
You
think
got it.
either way
You
is
got it.
decent.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Now, this is probably the more consistent punch, but it's probably the less lethal punch, just case in point, right? Like, you want to approach from the angle. Take the angle. And you've earned the right to blow all your cooldowns because of the situation. You have your 80%. You have empowered. You have your block to buy time. Yeah, you should do way more than this. This still might work, but you could be so much more aggressive than that. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, you missed the mega, which is a bummer. But if we ignore that little detail here, this lines up with how we use a block.
Oh my
right?
god, I remember something that happened in this game. This is about to be good.
Okay,
Peak
I'm ready
Cinema
for it.
coming up here, by the way.
Okay,
But
okay.
yes, I think that it was kind of a bad engage, and I think I mismanaged my. I think I was scared that I wouldn't get my ult, and I would just punch in, and everybody would stand there and look at me, and I would just explode, and I wouldn't have gotten my ult in time.
I got you. But again, it's just the situation. You're 80% and you have your block. That is your
Yep.
sustain. That you will be fine.
Definitely.
Okay, but yeah, this is fine. Like we know this punch is probably going to be charged because you're posing an actual threat. So she can choose to not shoot you, but that's a very expensive choice right now because you do take damage, right? I mean, look at your HP, right? So that charges punch, which you're like, well, what's the point of the punch? Because you used ult anyway. It's not about the punch. It's about the time her attention is on you and the time that your team is allowed to isolate this ram. That's what matters right now.
Got it.
Oh dear. Happens to the best of us. What was the what was the intention here?
Well, I went to try to scout, and then I realized that I thought the best place to land would be far right. I wanted to control the space far right.
Yeah.
And so then I went to go do it, and it expired. I didn't even know that. Honestly, I didn't even know that was possible.
It's a fun little fact, yeah. And I assume the cancel of your slam happened because you didn't realize how low you were. I think you thought that you got the mega.
Yep.
And then realized, because in theory here, you should be able to short slam this and then tap punch and then even get a shot or two off before you have to ult, right?
Yep.
But obviously, yeah, okay, it happens.
It was a mechanical error on the Mega, I think, and I've kind of disconnected. I tried to one thing that's helped a little bit is just disconnecting, like, health bar and alt button are disconnected from your punch and ability usage, you know what I mean? I mean, not fully, but, like, if I have to ult, I have to ult, you know?
Yeah.
So there's, mechanics on the Mega.
It happens. Go next, okay. Okay. This is one of those moments where you're allowed to just free farm because there's no engagement happening right now and there's a window you might as well go for it. If this happened 4 seconds from now, this would be bad because you'd probably want to look for a frontline or off-angle punch and build your punch off of the punch, if that makes sense. But right now, you might as well. And then, hey, we can use a little bit of psychology here too, right? It's the second round. They're going to get sloppy, right? So maybe that's even a factor as well. I mean, I don't know how much you should think about that, but to be honest with you, I'd experiment with it a little bit. Test the theory out. See if it works.
That's a good thought.
Now, one thing I would not do is I would not force backline just because you have charge punch. What that might mean is because you really can't go for backline here with or without CC. Why?
I just don't have a good angle for it.
You don't have a good angle for it. You don't have your block. You used your block early. I think that was a fine call, but you've used your resource you need to sustain in backline, and you don't have an angle for it. So use the empowered punch as a frontline tool. Otherwise, this is going to happen. What's the point of empowered punch if you have to lose space because you're too busy trying to look for backline? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's great. Yep. We love that. We applaud that, but that's total luck, right? Just shoot, just freaking empowered punch the ram right into the wall. Punch him into the wall. Use your slam, whatever, force his nemesis form. Feed punch off of his nemesis form. Punch him again, right? Punch him again, right? You can win tank
people
trades.
Out is all right.
It really is.
I could have just punched the ram and punched everybody back
absolutely.
Just for time, space.
Absolutely.
You know?
And if they do take angles on you, well, then now you have a punch target, right? Case in point, like this Symmetra here. So I guess my point is, if you're going to farm punch early, don't be so greedy with it. Just take what's available, right? It's the same thing.
Yep.
I know that empowered punch is more valuable versus squishies, but again, it doesn't necessarily completely change your target priority. Because the irony is that you're like, oh, I gotta pick what happened. Well, let's chess it up. Look at the red circles and look at how you behave because you don't have block. Look at the Ram's spacing. Look at the Torb spacing. Look at the Moira's spacing. Right.
Yeah.
So going for the Symmetra was the right play if the previous 4 seconds didn't matter. Right. It's not that the Symmetra was bad. It's that this was the first priority, right? Even seconds before. I don't think you were the reason your team lost. Like, your team shouldn't have gotten run over that fast, but yeah, so. Like here, for example, yes, get rid of the sucker. Punch him into your team. Empowered, block. Punch him again. Until he disengages, you can just take frontline trains. He's way overextended. Sure. Yeah, it's fine. Nice shots. Good stuff. Good job. Next angle. And again, you see the value of block, even when it's not fed. You see it? They really don't.
Even time where they're thinking about not shooting, which is them not shooting, and then
this is his shield. He needs to use this. This is how he does damage and pressure and holds the choke.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, all right, well, frick. And they just stop shooting. The best part is you'll see this all the time. They will look at you and not shoot you.
Yeah.
They'll just look at you. They'll stare at you. Right?
They won't shoot other things either. Yeah, it's funny.
Exactly.
Block, the whole game just stops for a second.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is good. Just take the angle, trade with what's in front of you. Don't have to force the backline here. You're being very. This is not perfect, but this the last few seconds I think have been a real demonstration of your maturity as a Doomfist player and how it's gone over the last 6 months or so. How you've taken this trade and how you've slowly created space for your team without forcing targets necessarily. Now you could have gone for Torb here, no problem. But this is fine too. Just take what's available and take the off angles from there, right? You want your angles, but you don't have to force squishies all the time. And you are creating so much space for your team in a so much more intelligent way. Now I say that, and he just your backline insists, to be honest with you. But even this, right? You have options here. So why on earth would you go for the ram, right? Go for the carry. And you almost got her. You got scammed because that's, Doomfist. Oh, you almost got her. This is a really good fight from you. This is the best fight that we've seen this entire game by far. Good stuff. Every single aspect, the attention to detail with taking space, then swapping the squishies as soon as you had an opportunity. Really nice. It's a shame that your backline is their monitors off, but that's all right.
It happens.
Nice. And then here you're I could tank trade on the ram, but I'm already set up for backline here. I have my ult. I'll use my my ult here just to layer. Yeah, this is good. Don't think it was a bad block necessarily because you can clearly tell that they're giving you respect without any sort of a commitment. But this is kind of where you don't have to play this conservatively because you have your ultimate. What would be a way to force your presence to farm punch here? And could you do so safely?
I think yes, actually. I mean, because I have the ult, I could just go hard on that sim. I could just jump that sim with mostly just punch her.
Or Moira, right?
Yeah, when they turn, either person, when they turn, right? Because the tag's going to turn on me, obviously, right? Or probably all of them are. So if I just punch in, then use my block, then I can chain my empowered, and I'll be right next to them, so it's impossible to miss, too.
It's basically, you ask yourself, how would I behave right now if I had my slam? Right, you'd punch this Moira or something, and then you'd block, and then you'd slam out. Well, you do have your slam, right? You have a much better slam. So, right, ensure that this block is going to work by punching at this Moira or punching at the sim, blocking, building punch again, punching again, and then ulting, right? That's kind of like the cycle that you've been missing so far this entire game. You keep looking for it, but not quite getting it. And so you don't pose quite enough of a threat here, so you don't build your punch, right? So you're still going to punch in here, because of course you are, but you're not going to pose as much of a threat.
Yeah, and I think I keep doing that, like you're talking about. I keep using punch before the fight to try to get it, and then go in with the empower punch, which is not necessarily bad, but I think I don't know if that's the optimal play if I can chain
punch
it.
To farm punch. Punch to farm punch is kind of the way, the big thing that we're looking at here. Punch to farm punch whenever you can safely. That's the way to look at it. Whether that's a slam.
I think I'm missing that heavily, yeah.
Whether that's a slam, whether that's... I mean, to be honest with you, if you could hit, let's say the ram's in your face here, punch the ram even if you don't have slam or ult. Because you could just punch him, block, duck behind the corner. You're fine. Right?
Definitely.
So it's any situation, whether it's slam, a sharp corner, your ultimate, nano boost, whatever, that you can punch without inting. Use that to set up your block, is the way to look at it. Unless you could physically see the projectile coming in. because it's just so much easier. Like right there, like if this was actually a moment where you could have used your block here, and I think you're going to, and you're just a little slow. Right here, this is where you're threatening. Right here, right? That Reyna's putting attention on you. There's a missed opportunity. It's not the end of the world. It's fine. Nice. I love those pixel grabs, you know? Just barely get her.
Yep.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Fun little detail, by the way. You see the top left middle? You see how it's got your replay code? It's a new feature they've added. I don't know how useful it is, but it's kind of fun.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
that's sick.
I just noticed it the other day. See, this was you almost had it. You almost had it. You thought about it, but too late.
Yep.
So like right here, and then you almost got it. I mean, I like the idea. This is something you need to experiment with more. The problem is that you took too long to do it, so you took too much damage trying to fish for it. You see it? So, like when you're here, just immediately, don't sit here and shoot. Just charge punch, then block. And then you get that orb right there, and you're good to go. You have the right idea, though. Like, sometimes you don't even have to use the punch to get it.
Like, fake the punch, or you're saying actually hit him with it?
Either one.
I think either way, I think is... Yeah,
either
I was going to say, I think either way is probably all right.
Either one. Yeah, the point
they're not going to walk here. They don't have a tank. They're not
yeah. The rule is we're trying to force a threat to build punch, right? So that might actually be using the punch, or it might be baiting with the punch. I think both are applicable. The reason why you would bait here is because you don't want to commit this far in this situation. The reason why you would use it here is because you have your ultimate and you're like, it doesn't really matter. I can get away with this. I can see arguments for both. Frankly, here, I think given the fact that you're down one here and where where this fight is taking place, I'd probably bait here instead. I want them coming in a little bit further, but honestly, I can see an argument for both.
Sure.
It's just a little too late. And hey, it worked, right? And it also bought time for you, even if they didn't feed it, for you to get your punch back. Good. Again, don't greet it, right? You're treating it as if you don't have ultimate here. I know she's gonna Suzu. You know she's gonna. I know, like we both know, right? But I guess maybe you're waiting for TP. Okay, maybe I'll cut you some slack here.
I think I was worried if I ulted, she'd just
Yeah, but it's not about the ult; it's about the slam.
Or I'm sorry, if she TP'd. I was worried about. I was trying to get her. Yeah, I was trying to force TP or fade either one.
I understand. I understand. So yeah, I think you made the right call here. That was actually one where you can charge your punch here too. You're quite a threat right now. So like right here, just use your block here, or even better, punch than block. Right? Just tap punch.
Yep. And then disappear.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Like you just, if we look at this from a resource trade perspective. I mean, this is a Kitsune and a Moira that's just kind of sitting back here, right? Like they've not even been able to use their ultimate. So, this is one of those moments where I think you've played this particular round pretty well, but played the previous round pretty poorly. And so everyone in your team feels dissatisfied because they're like, oh, my tank sucks. Your backline was just garbage, hot garbage. DPS as well, 0 angles, 0 space control. This Ram just ran all over him. But obviously the previous round was kind of a disaster class from you, including jumping off the map. So the good news is that I have definitely seen a progression of how you're playing the character. And you're doing the short off angles, taking tank trades, significantly better. Your whole cooldown layering has been much better. We just need more consistently charging our punches by posing more of a threat and behaving more like an ultimate character when we have our ultimate. That doesn't mean going in all in. That means using your ultimate as a way to build empowered punches before you even ultimate, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because it's like you force your presence. That's actually going to make your ultimates even better because you build an empowered punch, because you behave more aggressively. So you use the empowered punch and you force the cooldowns that will then set up your ultimate to get kills. It's just the rich get richer kind of a moment. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's, you want to do some live coaching here?
Sure, yeah, we can do that.
Let's do that.
Let's see. All right, I gotta boot up the stream.
Yep, no worries. I'd like to focus exclusively on your power block usage and when you're actually using it. What amount of threat can I get away with? such that I can actually do those things, if that makes sense.
Sounds good. Yeah, I like that idea. I think I can. Yeah, I'm trying to think about how I'm gonna do it, you know, and I think I'm just going to force my presence more and make myself a little bit more aggressive to get the block, and especially
Sure.
the punch thing, like because I'm just gonna get punched back if I get the block. So.
The punch into block is like the really, really, really easy. You're new to the concept. You need to get comfortable with it. System that we can just plug and play right now. Zero nuance. Just use it. Punch and block. Punch block. Punch block. That's it. But I think as you get a little bit more comfortable, maybe as the round develops, you can start to develop some nuances with it. Maybe a double cooldown engage into a block when you have ultimate, you know? Stuff like that. Heck, you get, like, right there. That's a great example of you doing it wrong, right? You needed to tap punch the Reaper first, then block. Why? Why not? It's free damage. You force a threat on him, he's more likely to shoot you, and in addition, that block timing allows you to charge up your next punch again. Whereas if you block first, you then have this awkward downtime after you punch where there's nothing to do.
Vote for your map.
Wow, okay. Lijiang is popular, I guess.
Yeah,
I think Atlas is actually pretty darn good for Doomfist, all things considered.
It is. I have found it
good.
enjoyable.
I don't know why people are hating on Atlas. I think Atlas is pretty inoffensive, all things considered.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's something about. I think what people don't like is how much it changes. Like, for example, I think one point to another, they're kind of different. Like, one is really enclosed and encircled, and the other one had the point is in the middle of the open completely, where like hit scan feels like it dominates.
Yeah. Makes sense. I think it'll be one of those things in like 6 months people will kind of forget. Good news, you have a hot guy with a 6-pack on your team, so you're guaranteed to win.
Oh, nice.
All right. Well, Freya ban's fine. Tracer ban is also relatively useful as well. But
yeah, it works for me. I sometimes consider the Mercy ban on this map because of the Mercy Pharah. Sometimes it's just horrific on that one with the tower.
Yep. This is the one. Well, actually, Night Market as well, but yeah, this one especially I think is really awkward. Hot guy 6-pack playing EDRA. Somehow that doesn't seem right.
Oh man. All right, let's see what we can do. You know, actually, recently, something I'll tell you is that I have been a hybrid and escort hater because. Something about it. I like the mode, but it just sometimes it feels tough for Doom.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
Feels like it takes so long to play too. Like sometimes I'm tired of playing a game for 40 minutes.
Oh, Doom is not good on escort or hybrid. It's generally longer sight lanes as a whole, so your win rate is probably, I'd say, as much as 5% lower than any other map, maybe more. Okay, threat into charge. Punch into charge. So I know that Doomfist micro complicates this, but I don't want you to overthink it even with that. Especially if you can cut off his sightline and just kind of like take the trades elsewhere. Don't overthink it. If you screw it up, he cancels one of your blocks. Who gives a frick? Who cares? He had to use a cooldown to deal with you. See, he's trying it too, right? See, that's fine. We got space off of that. We can live with that.
Do not want to go in there.
Just grab the mega. Just grab the mega to your right. Okay, you're...
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Now, we're going to build a threat, and then we're going to build punch off that threat. Just not... You know, not in a situation where you miss punch and end up in the middle of not.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. You had the right idea, though. Did you notice, by the way, that you got your punch canceled and still won the tank trade on the very first engagement?
I'm just going to try to stall point here, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, what on the first engage? I canceled
said-
punch and still got the tank trade?
No, as in he canceled your block, but you still won the tank trade. Because you posed a threat with your block and forced resources your way. So same thing here. I want to punch cycle some sort of threat into block first. Don't block without a threat.
Oh,
Close.
I was
That's close.
way in the middle of nowhere.
So that's one of those situations there on your initial punch and the kill on the Moira. You could have even used your block there, even though there wasn't like basically no damage coming over, just Juno Tickle, just to keep their attention and preserve your HP. Because you were not going to get any healing there. Again, it's not, you don't even necessarily always use your block to build charge. You use your block to keep yourself alive and hold attention when it matters. Good. You can even block here. Right, exactly. Because that attention matters right there. You see that? That was perfect. They just sat there and stared at you like morons standing in the open while your team is just railing down on them.
Yep.
Good stuff. Threat, then block.
Honest play here. I'm gonna move up a little bit.
Sure.
Oh!
It's okay. You're missing some HP. It's just a little bit over an extension.
I didn't even hear him charge, to be honest.
That's alright.
Damn.
That's fine.
Ah.
It's okay. Earned death. Earned death. Good job.
That's tough.
But you notice again, like, look at how much longer your cycle and backline was there because of the timing of the block. It was good.
Yep. Yep. Ooh, he was always cool. Get him, get him, get him, get him, get him.
Threat, then block. Threat, then block. There it is. Good. It's okay. Threat, then block. Yes, that was good. That was good. That's fine. For what we're practicing, it's exactly what we want. Keep it up. I'm still having to cue you a little bit because you're still over-prioritizing a little bit. There's a little bit of fear of the Doomfist canceling your block sometimes when it's going to get canceled anyway. So just use it. It's fine. There's obviously nuance here that we're ignoring right now, but that's the entire point of the first round of practice is to ignore nuance. It's just to grind it until you get an understanding of what I'm talking about first, then we can introduce the nuance here. So,
okay, I'm going to try to really...
For what we're practicing...
focused.
Yeah, that's okay. For what we're practicing, you're doing a good job. We can do better, though. So, threat, block. Threat, then block. Let it buy you time, if nothing else.
3, 2, 1. Capture the objective.
Do not falter. This is where we prove our worth.
That's okay. We're buying time. We're buying time. That's okay. That would have been a prime time to block right there. That's okay. That was close. So the initial slam, the angle that you were controlling was really good. There was one moment when you could have used your block after having them, basically you inted, you applied pressure, and then you could have used block there. Look for those windows.
Okay.
It's fine. For what we're practicing, it's fine. Okay. Threat, then block. Not block,
Yep,
then threat.
that was bad
right?
too.
That's okay. Recognize it. It's fine. Yeah, it's okay. block if you need to. Keep an eye on the kill feed. If your Moira gets one more, I want you to fight this. Sure.
I am on the objective. Report here now.
It's fine.
Meteor strike.
It's gumshoe time.
Good.
Ready for a knockout?
It's fine. Good.
I need
a
a
mo-
block.
That's okay. That's okay. You recognize it. You're still gonna win this fight. You'll be fine. I think. Maybe. Maybe not.
No.
That's okay. Get her. Nice. Give them point flip if you need to. You can walk forward. You're even here.
This ends now.
Okay. Yep.
Let the kitsune guide you.
I'm just trying to stay alive.
Yep. Smart.
No,
Close.
barely away from
It's
my ult.
close. That's close.
Meteor strike.
Oh, that's tough. It is so hard to focus on both things, like playing well and practicing.
You don't
That is
need to
very
play
difficult.
well. That's the point, right? I know there's pressure on you to do so because it's a live coaching doesn't matter. That's not what I'm here for. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not expecting you to play well. You're just
Okay,
here to
I'm gonna try to
practice.
focus more on practicing.
All right, let's do it.
All right, I got this. I'm gonna play like ass, and I'm gonna practice really well.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Couple moments there where you did it really well. Couple moments where you did it really well, where you're able to use that block layering. There's a really interesting dynamic here where he's trying to farm for his block too. He sees you use your block to farm punch, and then he punches into it to cancel. And a lot of times he actually overextends for that. There's a couple of moments where I think you actually could have punished him faster for trying to punish you for farming block. So there's, it's not as it's it. No, it's actually kind of a risk if he wants to try to cancel that. So you can use that to just simplify your
try to
thinking
bait him
process.
in a little bit.
Right. You just simplify even. Just I don't have to worry as much about the Doom mirror as long as I'm on a corner. For sure. Use a thing, cancel my punch. I don't care.
Okay. Focus on the punch.
That's right.
What a vote, by the way. 3 votes for the map.
The six-pack muscular guy just didn't do it, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunate. Let's see. If people don't have things they hate here, I dislike Ana.
Interesting.
Yeah, they banned Ana.
All right. And notably not thinking as much about positioning. Obviously, like we should hope that your positioning is not terrible, but because that should be instinctual. But also, it's fine. It's still gonna
Yep,
be your
there are
biggest
some
bang for your
times
buck.
that were a bit rough.
Yeah, the hard part about positioning with live coaching is it's objectively the biggest bang for your buck for most people in terms of like just performing immediately better. But that's not why we're here. It's because we do have to dig into the weeds and practice some of the more fine minutia because they add up, right? They're also a little bit harder to practice, right? It's not as easy to say find an off angle with cover as it is to apply pressure and then use your block. You know, it's like that's a little trickier. So it's going to take a little bit more focus and, ironically, more practice to practice it effectively.
All right.
Okay.
I'm focused up.
Apply
Threat,
threat.
block. Threat, block.
Threat, unblock. Threat, and block. That's it. Feel free to experiment. Effective practice does not mean you're doing it correctly. It means that you're experimenting with it in different aspects.
Ball.
Mm-hmm.
I see one.
Nice. Threat block. Yeah, look at that. Good. Good. That was good. That was good.
I just said as a force because the team was dying behind me anyway, so I just was like,
Yeah. I mean, even with, like, to be frank with you, even without your team dying there, like, that was still good. You'd absolutely live that, and probably build punch if they were under more pressure. It's good.
I'm wondering, unrelated to what I'm practicing, I was just wondering if I gave too much space by hitting the ball. I just don't want him to drop my team. I don't know if my team heard it.
Yes.
That's better. Selected against.
Nice. We canceled her TP. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna farm punch here if he turns around. Or that. You just don't think
That works too. Fine with me.
That's right. Good stuff. Very good.
Ooh,
Too far with where your team is. Good read. Almost worth. And that was with 0 help too, and down 1. It's good.
Yeah, I was too far.
It's good. Did you notice that the block is what held the attention for as long as it did, and you're still moving, so that was fine.
Yep.
Good job.
A challenger. Face me.
Now just slam out. Easy peasy. Look at that. Without that block, you would not have been able to get out safely.
Yep.
Do it again. That's okay. Just bail or hold the angle. They might chase here, so just be careful. Okay. I want you to listen carefully and gauge your timing off of your audio. I'm going to shut up for a second.
I'm gonna see if I can touch before forward. I actually can. They didn't get forward. I'm gonna just take bot. You can have that. Alright.
Threat and a block.
I think I did a little too slow there.
Good. Keep going. Staying on our practice. Threat and a block.
Face
That's okay. Now you don't have your block here. Threaten a block. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Just mechanical, like the missed punch there and the soldier hurt, right? But you saw it, right?
Yep.
You held 3 people's attention, took little damage, and then had empowered punch for soldier and
Yep.
fingal.
I definitely did better with the block there.
You did very good. This entire game has been really good. Now that you don't have the distraction of the Doomfist micro, you're doing really good with your blocks.
Oh wow, she just decided. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, you were enough of a threat, I suppose. Do it again, and now keep in mind you have your ultimate, so you could just keep greeting more for more and more and more empowered punches.
Let's put a stop to that.
I'm trying to see if I can kill this guy quickly, then leave.
Good.
We're outnumbered. Meteor strike.
I'm on fire.
Your threat block. So that was an interesting side example where you waited way too long to block because you wanted to slam out. Block there instead. That way you reduce the amount of damage that you're taking during that transition. You see what I'm saying? It's fine to slam there if you slam completely to cover. Otherwise, block is just going to be better in that situation. Just full reset here. You should be able to get out.
They push past us.
Alright, threaten a block.
Ah, shoot.
That's okay. You got it.
There you go.
Now, just because you have empowered punch doesn't change the cycle here. Let's go. Let's pose a threat. It's just greedy.
Oh.
It was just greedy. You were trying to play the micro there. It's probably okay in that situation to just tap punch the Kiriko, you know? Tap punch, force the Suzu now. Why gamble? Don't go for the one shot, just force the Suzu now.
Okay.
You fully charge that punch, she does 300 more damage to you, you know?
That was bad too.
Yeah, it's alright.
I just gotta reset.
That's okay. You're allowed to have one
block.
Yeah, but that's the one time where you can tell your attention split. One fight per game is fine. Now break this.
Nice.
Yeah. Threat. This is too far to be a threat.
Probably could have punched there.
That's
or
okay.
a block there.
That's okay. Pose a threat. We need to be close to be a threat. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I think I have to touch.
That's okay. That was much better towards the end. And you notice again, like even towards the end, you don't build a charge on the Kiriko there, but what do? You're able to keep Juno and Kiriko's attention for 3 seconds longer. It was good.
Yep.
Let's do one more.
I think I didn't realize how many more. I didn't realize how terrible I was at block.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's
Like,
fine.
wow.
That's fine. You did much better there practicing than the previous game. And I'm not saying that because, you flipped the switch. It's because there were other things to think about that made practice that much harder, right?
Sure.
It's why you started to do worse at it as that game went, because you started worrying about, they're going to cap, frick, we got old. So you started thinking about the game and less about what you were practicing. So the more distractions that there are, whether it's tilt, excitement, whatever, the less you're going to practice effectively. It's not bad. That's normal. Everyone's like that. I'm like that. The best players I've ever worked with are like that. But it's good to be aware of that and try to kind of gently push yourself back into, hey, like that last fight was a great example. Yeah, you lost. Yeah, you forgot the touch. Would it have mattered? No, it wouldn't have. You would have lost anyway. And you know what you did do? You had a really nice block cycle on backline. You should have killed the Juno. You probably should have killed the Kiriko. But for what we were practicing, nice job.
Yep, and I think like what I'm realizing too here, maybe he wants to play Tracer. One thing that I realized too is that like I think there's a lot of room to improve my focus with practicing too. Like it's just so easy to stop focusing on what you're practicing.
Well, you framed it really
It's-
interestingly in the first round because you chastised yourself for not practicing your block and for not playing well. And I knew as soon as I heard that, I was like, no, that's the wrong way of looking at it, right? The only thing you should be framing yourself off is how well did I practice, not how did I play well. You get what I'm saying?
Yep. Definitely,
Because
and I think I struggle with that because it's just so hard. I mean, it's so hard to focus on
It is.
practicing and just be like, who cares about my rank? You know, just
It
like
is.
throw
It
it.
is.
Who cares about trying to play well?
It is. But it's just a long-term vision. And I think the reality is that nobody will ever completely be happy with only the practice and not involve some of the results. But you need to try to shift as much of your attention towards that as you possibly can. You know, I'm
Okay.
happy when I win. I'm sad when I lose. But I'm less sad when I lose than I used to be. You know, that's kind of needs to be your mindset.
Let's get started. Got a lot.
I mean, heck, you even brought it up earlier, and part of the reason why you're more consistent, right? It's a spectrum. It's a process. You've done a better job in the last 6 months. Well, just keep going. Not just because to be PMA, but just so that you can practice more effectively. You have to be willing to try these things and being willing to even lose games because you're not focusing on the right things. You're focusing on what you're supposed to be practicing. Let's do it again. Threat into block. Threat into block.
Let's do it.
I don't care what they're playing. Threat into block. Even if it means getting CC'd. Threat into block.
Okay.
How gloomy. Let's change that.
Sure. You see it? Do it again.
I gotta go up.
It's fine.
We're outnumbered. Lights out.
Oh, I work
That's okay. It's all right.
My bad, Anna.
Yep. I mean, you saw it again, right? You got javelined. Doesn't matter. You preserved your HP. You also took a lot of attention, with or without the empowered punch.
I'm gonna just touch real quick.
Yep. Yep. Do it again.
Just keep that.
Good.
The objective is mine.
Let's do it again.
Over here. Rocket spot.
Sure.
I see one.
That's
Oh,
good.
I was holding my ult.
No, it was close. It was close. It was close.
Okay, I think I got blocked better that fight.
I think you did great. I think you did amazing. And this is also
Okay.
versus javelin as well, right? So you either built punch every time you use block, or you're able to get the full value of the timing, basically the 3 seconds of invulnerability every time. It was good.
Wait for it. A challenger.
It's a lot of attention.
Meteor strike.
It's good. To be frank, if you want something to kind of help ease your distraction, you're playing fine, you're practicing fine, your team is getting picked early to random crap. Don't trust the process here. You won't always have me in your ear telling you that, but I'm just encouraging you, keep doing what you're doing.
Got it.
It's the time you
I
need
think
it.
that was okay because I just didn't
agree.
know.
I agree.
I
You
didn't
needed-
know what was near me. I needed to make sure that I didn't.
Well, you needed time, is what you needed,
Yeah.
and you got the time that you needed. In fact, your passive heal kicked in. That's the funny thing. You just didn't take damage. Nice. Good job.
Okay. Yeah. I think the blocks were okay.
I think so too. There it is.
Gotta go.
There it is. Let's get the Ana.
Meteor strike.
Oh, I thought you had that.
I thought I did too.
That would have been sick. I think you canceled the punch in accident. Good job.
Okay, so something to think about block too. I'm focused on block. So when focusing on block, I'm noticing that there's a lot of dive targets, or a lot of dive on their team. So I probably won't get block as easily. So I can't just like. Okay, this is not good.
Well, remember, the reason the threat into block matters is it's not just about charging punch. It's about when I am being the source of distraction, doing so at a very vulnerable time for the enemy team. You see what I'm saying? So even if they don't shoot you during block, you're buying time during a crucial moment.
Wait for it. We're outnumbered.
Fine, just reset here.
Yeah.
Like, for example, that right there felt like a moment where you didn't have any CDs, so you just needed a second, right? And that's what block does.
No, I was trying to help her get out. Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that was silly. But yeah, versus the dive targets, you're definitely going to be farming punch less often, but those seconds where you between cooldowns is way more important because you're way more vulnerable versus dive when you don't, right?
Yeah.
So this is fine. It's a trade-off.
Okay.
Your prayers are answered.
There it is.
Let the kitsune guide you. Got one here.
I am on the objective. Report here now. Ready for a knockout?
I can't find anybody.
It's all right. So it's just more of a mechanical thing. It's hard to lock down targets, but all of your punches and all of your shots matter that much more. So you just needed to chill. There were at least 2 or 3 opportunities just to do even 30, 40, 50 damage that would have resulted in a kill. You just got panicky.
Yep.
Relax. You're doing fine.
Yep, I think I just started doing that thing where, you know, you talk about like when the fight devolves, you just start going for, like, you just start pressing buttons when they come up.
There it is again.
Wise decision.
There it is again. And you thought you were going to have to ult, didn't you?
No. I did.
See, that's
Nice
exactly the
work.
type of behavior that is enabled by your ultimate. You didn't even use it, but you were willing to go for the riskier trade with your block because you knew that you could just keep farming punches with it. And that was the result.
Yep. Okay, we can play here. I'm going for him.
Yeah, sure, why not? Just keep reading that block until you need it.
Odds are against us.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's it, right?
I think I'm just gonna go peel the tank here.
This fight's probably lost. Maybe get a trade here. Actually, you might be able to get out. I don't know this map well enough. I don't think you can get over it. Yeah,
I don't either. I don't know where I'm going.
yeah, you're good. You're good.
Thank
Nice.
you. All right. Nice. Hello there.
Ready for a knockout? Powered up.
It's fine.
To you.
Pose a threat. Block.
Report here now.
Let the kitsune guide you.
Oh, the mercy.
fine. You need that was one where you just needed time between cooldowns, and you got it.
100%.
Yep, it's a good job. You're doing so good with the block. Like I would say, just 60% better. Like I was just like mathematically, like all of the blocks are just so much better.
Thank you. Okay, great. I'm trying to very hard to focus on just blocks, not playing. So. It's not as easy as it sounds.
Oh, trust me. There it is. If it ain't broke.
I'm gonna go up top here.
Sure. Okay, let's go. Let's go. We've got full cooldowns and ult here, so I want full greed.
Ah, that.
It's okay. You can do all sorts of things here with your block.
I need to win this, don't I? Yep.
Yep. Take your time. I want you to go for not Orisa for right now. We need a spicy trade here to win this. That was good. It was good towards the end. In the Devolve fights, it's just really important to not go for the Orisa, but honestly, I don't think it would have changed too much. Okay, so here's the full analysis of why you lost the game. You ready for this one? Okay. Yeah. We want to know why you lost the game. The biggest,
missed a lot of
yeah, the three biggest problems, all right, in order of priority. Number one, you were taking fights in really bad locations. You were pushing way beyond point into chokes where your backline was in a really bad position, forcing your backline to overextend and your DPS line to overextend. So you need to practice. I could tell your autopilot with where to take fights on this map was bad. Really bad. Like, you will check the replay code and you're constantly stuffing chokes. You're doing the old, I'm going to extend beyond chokes and take choke fights way, way, way deep towards their spawn. So even if you win, you're getting very little objective progress. You want to fight on chokes that are closer towards point. That's just the flashpoint rule, right? They're just significantly better defender's advantage setups for your Lifeweaver, for your Ana, your Kiriko, and so on, that you were bypassing because you were focusing on the other things. It's not bad that you did that. Just showcases a weakness when you're working on other things that you can work on in isolation. Second thing, mechanical chokes. Not early in fight, but in devolved fights. In the exact same metric that, people feed punch later in fights more often, people also miss punches later often and miss shots, right? You were, I would say, performing below expectations given what you can do mechanically as fights devolved, including even going for fortified Orisas as your brain just started to frazzle out. I think that is something to keep an eye on as the fights devolve, is that you need to stay intentional with your shots and intentional with your cooldowns. The third reason why you lost, and this is more of a hot take, but more of a minor thing here, you might want to consider which perk you choose, depending on what you're going versus. I think you would have benefited immensely in these devolved fights from having the punch shot reset perk. I think it's one of the most underrated perks in the game. I don't think it's good, but I don't think it's bad. And I think you'd benefit more from consistently having 4 bullets in the chamber for the entirety of these fights than having 25, 30, 40 extra HP.
Got it. I'll definitely, I'll experiment with it. I'll pay it for the next 10 games. And
it
actually depends.
Yeah, it really does depend, right?
Hog type of thing.
Yeah, it depends. Like, how many devolved, long, extended fights are you going to have versus an Ana Zen backline, right? It's going to be all or nothing, pretty much, right? Where that HP might be somewhat useful. But in those fights, I think you kind of described it. Kiriko Mercy, Sombra Tracer, Genji crap. You're not really building punch very often, which should probably tell you should probably be, having more ammo equal better in those situations. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Yep.
More of a niche situation.
Try that.
But anytime you're versus Moiras or Lucios or Winstons or Reapers, Tracers, anything that's not going to burst you down, you might want to try experimenting more with the uptime of the weapon. Now, for goals for you, 100% the block. 100%. 100% keeping attention on your positioning, short range off angles, evaluating where you're taking fights. And then the third thing I'm going to throw in there is going to be keeping your intention with your mechanics, with both your shots and your cooldowns as fights devolve. Don't let your second punch devolve in effort compared to your first punch.
Okay.
Because that's not just that game. That was also the first game, and that was also the second game. That's not a you problem. That is an everybody problem. But that is a very low-hanging fruit for anybody that's playing a mechanically intense hero to improve on. Don't let your
Got
best
it.
engagement be your first engagement. Keep that level of quality as the fights devolve. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think a lot of people like, especially with Doom, a lot of times the first engages, and stuff, you have much higher percent chance of not killing somebody, right? And then
Yes,
as it keeps
exactly.
going, their
Yeah.
cooldowns come out and yours come back up so
Yes,
fast, and there's such
exactly.
high violence cooldowns that like,
Exactly.
like high velocity, right? And so
Yes.
like if I don't get, if I don't start mechanically outperforming, I feel like I'm always going to win the long cycled fight,
Correct. You will. You will. I mean, even empowered punch is something that's more likely to happen mid-fight, not just due to lack of focus, but because you're more likely to be a lethal threat that deserves killing even through block, right? So you're going to have empowered punch more often later in fights.
Yep.
And we saw that. And that's why those punches hurt so much, right? Because you were doing such a good job giving yourself the tools and then doing nothing with them, right? Now, that's the highlight to end on here, is that last game especially, even with the CC, that was kind of an awkward. You did great. Like, I mean, really good. Like, you're with your empowered block. Like, it was really, really well executed. The times that you didn't build punch with it, you got the crucial seconds that you needed to buy time for your cooldowns. The times that you didn't get punch out of it, you bought survivability for yourself. You bought time for you to be able to just basically keep your HP up while you're getting healed. It's not about, oh, this is about farming empowered punch. No. That's one of the things. The other one is that I'm going to get your attention and then hold it for 3 seconds, whether I get my empowered punch or not. And if you're already the center of attention, you might just use your block just to keep yourself alive. The challenge comes when you're not the center of attention. How do you manage that more, right? How do I force you to look at me? How do I force you to kind of pay attention to me as a tank? And empowered punch is usually, or block, sorry, is usually the way that that's done. And I think like there's obviously a lot of nuance in there that you should explore. And I think you did a pretty good job of it today. But I think that it's going to start with threat into block. Like that's the bread and butter. Threat into block. And then if I build punch, great. If I don't build punch, great. It doesn't matter.
Awesome. Okay. I am going to work on those things, especially the ones we talked about today. And then just in general, I'm going to also work on not like just focusing on practicing more intentionally too, because I think I was so focused on like hitting masters, so excited that I was like staying in masters for a month or whatever, right? And like it was great, but then like I feel like I'm not getting any better at all, right? And so I think one thing that I'm actually going to try is I just recently got an alt account where I can just practice on,
Yes.
And so I think that might help me a lot because it was unfortunate because I bought it because I didn't want to spend all the time placing it, right, and unlocking all the characters and everything. And so I bought an account, and I bought one that specifically was Diamond because I just didn't feel right about, if you're
gonna be unethical, but at least be ethical about your unethicalness. I respect it.
Exactly. I was trying to be ethical, not ruin a bunch of people's games. And then unfortunately, it was placed in Diamond on DPS, and it wasn't placed at all on Tank. And so unfortunately, I had to be a villain. But then the guy actually sold the account twice. It's a reputable source, and so I'm sure I'll get it figured out. But he sold it twice, and so some other guy got on there and paid $10. I'll have you know, to rename my account Mercy Pounder 54. So that's the alt account I got. Right,
Blizzard is making money off of this. I think maybe this is just Blizzard behind the scenes, man.